Hello, Wildists, and welcome back to Wild Conversations. I am here at Colibri Spirit Festival, set on the cliffs above the azure turquoise sea and the olive groves behind us, in a really, really spiritual land full of some incredibly precious people. I'm so excited to have with me today Miriam Adler, whose embodied love I've just experienced for the first time, and I'm really excited to bring her intuition to our conversation. So welcome, Miriam, goddess of feminine embodiment. So how did you come to this incredible work that you're helping us all remember?
Well, I think how it is often, it's what you start sharing is what you had to learn yourself the most. And my background is I'm German, so I grew up in quite a disembodied country. In my family, it was very much the focus was on the mind, like on studying and what you know and academics and how you are perceived in the outside world, but intellectually perceived. So I think for years I was very much training my mind and very, very deeply disconnected from my body. And then that led me kind of in a rebel phase where I went off into the world. I think I was 19 years old, modeling, and it was probably the thing that would annoy my parents the most. And so I went to South Africa and Australia and then the US, and it was kind of my opportunity to actually break free out of the construct that I grew up in. Breaking free, actually, it wasn't a proper breaking free, because now I kind of entered another imprisonment of my own, which my perfectionism turned against my body. And I was very much caught in the superficial world of now, like, what does it look like on the outside? And how can I perform best to be again, perceived in a way, but still deep inside I'm like, I don't even know myself, and these people don't know me, and I have no clue what the hell I really want to do with my life. And it was an incredibly painful period of my life, and I realized, I think, which many women that I work with today go through, it was a really deep disconnection from my creative core, from my creative center. Like, I was totally blocked in my womb and my heart. Like, there was no energy moving whatsoever. And I even had an eating disorder back then. Like, I was binge eating cycles, and again, I think I was living my deep insecurities were not, I wasn't able to contain them anymore, so they kind of started to come out, right? And like in trying to numb myself with food, and I just remember, I think the kind of rock bottom I hit, I was like 24 years old, wandering the streets of New York City, going to OA meetings, like AA, but Overeaters Anonymous. And I was like, in the high, like outside, my life was amazing. I was like, flying from Cannes Film Festival here and photo shoots and that. But like secretly, I would go to OA meetings, and I would sit there. Just to get real and raw, because I had no place for that. Like, because I disconnected very much from my family back then, and I just felt very much alone with my real struggles that were going on inside of me. And I was like sitting in these cellars, and like you're saying, it was kind of a real moment where I'm like, oh, like, this is what feels good. Doesn't look good, and it's a kind of horrible environment, right? Like in cellars, but actually, this is where my body feels seen. And
the subconscious reflection that everyone in that space was also speaking the truth of, I'm not happy, I'm not safe, I don't know who I am. But you had this whole world of perfection and expectation and presentation that was your identity. And so you're hiding in the raw real
Totally.
feeling their reflection to become, and often we're seeking for so long in that phase when you know you need to go deeper into that hole that's inside you.
Exactly.
And you keep playing this game.
Totally.
Why?
It's like we keep playing that game, and I was keep playing them, and I'm like, how can I really connect? Why am I here? What is my real truth? Why am I here? You know?
How can I feel?
How can I feel what is real? And without feeling what is real, we might copy what other people think is right for us, or what a path is meant to look like, or what is right. And to really walk our own path and really share our own gifts and really connect to that creative impulse that lives inside of us, it is a journey, like you're saying, of really resensitizing and opening up and allowing kind of the blockages and contractedness of blocked emotions to be released, so that then actually I get to feel myself again, and rather than being so tight with all the things that I didn't feel in all my childhood and all my teen years and all the suppressedness, right? Just finally had an outlet. And that was the beginning of my path, truly. Like I after that, I signed up for a Kundalini teacher training for a year long, and it was like I was partially going to university and studying psychology, partially going to that Kundalini teacher training, and I was like, it ain't found in the classrooms. Yeah. Like what I'm looking for is right there. And I had the real joy of studying with an incredible teacher, and it was like my whole body was coming back to life, and that body coming back to life looked like 3 months I just spent crying in that room.
The grief, the mess you have to let happen. I think people look at you and they're like, oh, I want to do that, I want to be that, and they don't understand this massive chapters and periods of time we have to break and break again, and grieve again, and just to enable this freeing of all the weight. If you imagine the time that we've built that weight, it's years, it's a lifetime of conditioning of the parents, the expectation of them, and then us, like you say, becoming the rebel, but not really. You know, and so
I became the rebel against my own self.
And the other thing that resonates as you're speaking is that I think people really are struggling today to find the feeling. Like, where is the feeling? How can I feel? I know there's something in there, but how can I get to it? And I think that we've been taught to, listen to your heart, just feel in the heart. And when I say that, actually, I don't feel it. It's like, it's in here. Yeah. This is where we need to hear to inform how to lead with the heart. Like, it's here, this wisdom. We're never taught that. There's no description or celebration or reverence to the womb space that is the reflection of the universe, and where we can become her, which is us, which is me, which is you.
Totally.
And the return to that place is what I think is hard to find. And having done your beautiful session yesterday, starting with the release from the blockages that are just clamping down that wisdom of the womb.
Totally. And I love what you're saying there, because really the womb, like you're saying, is that creative center of a woman. It's our receptive force. It's like the cauldron where we get to brew magic in. But because we haven't really been taught that, and because our protectors are usually going into the mind, right? That's how we protect ourselves. It's just leaving our bodies, holding our breath, and kind of trying to calculate things. And when we are in the mind, when we get into that protector's mechanism, we actually don't know anymore truly how to receive. Because the womb is a receptive space. It actually welcomes impulses and inspiration and creative life force into it, to then actually, rather than being a force, like I need to do this, it's like, ooh, like I received that spark, and that leads me to wanting to create that. It's a very different way of working when we are connected to our womb and feeling,
which you can't do here.
And I was sharing yesterday in the workshop, it's quite fascinating because our energy center, like I said, as a woman, our receptive force, our minus pole is our womb space, is also our vagina, right? And when we are blocked, like I said, because we are totally in our head, or we are blocked because there's certain childhood like traumas, right? Unprocessed pain from childhood, whether it is sexual abuse, whether it is sexual trauma, which already starts with having sexual experiences where we say yes, but actually we mean no, right? And all the other childhood, whether abandonment, betrayal, and usually we don't know how to process these heavy emotions, and then they get stored in the womb space, because that's like our first energy center, right? And a lot of shame is also in the womb space, because again, like, we haven't really been taught how to celebrate the feminine. Our grandmothers haven't really celebrated the feminine anymore. Our mothers haven't. Like, how much shame is even around bleeding, how much shame actually is around our sexuality still, right? So all that shame gets built up here, and
Hide
then
and cope. Those two
hide and
words.
cope.
Hide and cope.
Hide and cope. And then our energy can't move up into our heart. So that's why we don't feel our heart.
Yeah.
So now I have all this blockage here. And then the next blockage that blocks the heart is actually this creative force can't go, because our diaphragm is blocked as well, which is also a massive block towards our full experience of pleasure. And when the diaphragm is blocked, usually it blocks because we haven't been fully seen in our childhood, because the diaphragm is our power center. It's how we are moving outwards into the world. And if we haven't been really seen, which, you know, many of us haven't been, we kind of then tend to make ourselves small, we shrink, we even collapse, right? It's also the collapsed body posture. And there is a deep lack of confidence in ourselves, how I move out into the world. And when we then block here, I was saying that also yesterday, we become performers, because now, because I haven't really been seen, right? Now I think I need to perform, which that was me, right? And it still sometimes
create a vision for you to understand who I am, and this is how I think it should look. And I look back and I see this silent child from like age 14, this looking like a woman. Like, I lived in India and Bombay. I grew up in Arabia before that, so I had a lot of culture in me, and I'd been referencing this tribal vibe, which is very much part of my identity since a young age. So I really was womaning, but completely trapped here. So yesterday in your class, I was like, the voice, we're trapped here, and we're trapped here. Cope, hide, silence. Yeah, but this perfectionism thing, I think we really need to mention this more, because still, and I've done 10 years of work now on myself, right? I still, in deep practice moments, I still find myself being like, oh, is somebody watching? Like, what does it look like? Oh, maybe I can move a little bit more. And I'm like, again, I'm out in performance. And when I'm out in performance, I leave my own body. I'm pulled outside of myself. And in that moment where I'm pulled outside of myself into performance, I totally stop feeling my own experience. It's no longer for me, it's for them. And that is really a lot of the painful experience that many of us women, most of my clients, like most women that I ever work with, have that pattern. And it's sad for ourselves, because we are missing out on the experience of what it really feels like to be like fully immersed in our bodies, right? And when you meet a woman that really is in a total, like, she's like feeling herself, and she's like messy and like in it, right? The wild
You're
woman.
like, ooh, like, I want some of that, right? So that is that liberation that we are longing for, very much so. And I think when we liberate that I'm not seen, it is a reconnection, like you're saying, to that little girl. And in these moments where I find myself going into performance, I'm like, oh, little Miriam, like, I see her in front of my eyes, and I'm like, here you are, I see you, it's okay, like, I see you, can we go back inside now? I see you, I love you. And then, I find myself again connected because I'm actually longing for my own eyes, right? And when I then open my diaphragm, the energy can start to come into my heart. And that's when we become vessels of love. And I think as women, we are born to be vessels of love. You know, it's the gift of the feminine is to
Fountain.
you know, and when she's like,
and this
like
whole this sense like
yes,
that it's really coming like out.
and the power comes from here, and the inspiration and the creativity, and it rises, and then it gets transmuted through the heart and shared through the heart, because our heart is the positive pole, and when it's positive, right, it's like it shines outwards. So we receive the energy here, it travels up, and we give it through the heart. And that is how we touch. And really, I think how we evolve humanity is by more women being in their hearts.
Remembering our womb to heart to voice.
And that's the next one, because it comes here. But then when this opens up and shines, now the energy has a chance to travel into the throat. And when the throat is connected to the womb and the heart, we become actual channels, right? And it's no longer like we're calculating what we need to say and da-da-da. It is actually a flow of the divine essence that we get to channel through us. And it's that gift of like, wow, this didn't even come through me. It's, you know, the goddess force, it's her speaking through me, which is so beautiful when that happens. And
as you're speaking, it's stunning to watch, but I can also feel the listeners and the audience and but how
totally.
And so I'd love to dive into that, and I'd love to share how I really came to the art of finding my womb wisdom. Was
I love that.
Kind of throwing all my conditioning and everything that didn't suit or fit with me. Like you had a breakdown to break through, I had the same, and I painted the walls of my home womb pink, not realizing how important that was. I danced to myself in the mirror for myself for hours, days, months. I wept in the bath. I hugged myself. I found my inner child. I did it alone. That was hard. And now being in community and finding my tribe, because a lot of people are like, but how and who? And we build these lives where there isn't anybody to reference that feels like us. And we're creating it all the time and perfecting it and polishing it. But it's the most empty vessel, and we know that, but we just don't know how to find the tribe that's going to help pull us forward. And in your practice, really that breakdown and going deep to offer up, or to find something that you can let go of, and then healing as sisters. And as people are listening to this, how do I do this? And we can talk through the practice of yesterday, but is it something that you do on your own, this art, and how can we help people to integrate more of it in their own practice? What does that look like?
I love that question. Thank you for sharing your path. Wow. In the bathtub alone, I definitely know that, weeping on the bathroom floor. But I think the start for each person listening, right? I do believe that the start is a start that you have with yourself. Like, I think there's a whispering voice that comes online that is like, you're not listening to your truth, you're not living your truth, and it's almost a voice that becomes louder and louder, and the voice usually has a lot of pain with it, because pain is what wakes us up, right?
We don't be afraid of the pain is where it gets good.
Totally. Like for me, it was a combination of heartbreak and disconnection from my body, being in this spiral, right? Like pain was getting more and more, because the pain was like, come on, get out of here, get out of here, get out of here. And then there was the moment of like, whoa, okay, I have no idea where, how, what, when, with who, right? Like, but I think because there is a dismantling happening, that the pain breaks open the ego, and we're kind of like, we're ready to ask for help, you know? So I think for anybody, the beginning of a path is I think it's a humble opening where you're like open to receive guidance.
And lose judgment on yourself. That is where it began for me. Forgiveness for me, to myself, and therefore everybody. I now have no judgment. So that's where the peace begins. With the break.
Totally. So the pain, I think, is the initial kind of like, come here. And then I think we answer in a certain sense of like, okay, but I'm willing now. I'm willing to like show me another way, because the way that I've been walking all these years is definitely not my way anymore. So I'm humbly asking. So for me, it was a combination of, I've prayed every day. I was like, please show me where I'm meant to be. Please show me my purpose. I'm here for a reason. Please guide me, show me. And I think with that, I think Spirit really listens in these moments, especially when we're heartbroken. And there's a lot of, a lot of truth, a lot of beauty there, a lot of depth, and a lot of, I think, realness in that prayer. In these moments when we go through grief or pain, we're very deep and close to surrender. I think the closest we ever get to surrender, And with that, I think when we are in that moment of surrender, Spirit meets us, and then people come. I mean,
they just start coming and they find you.
Totally. And then all of a sudden, a friend is like, you know what? I think you should go try this, or go to this training. And like a really like beautiful woman, she sent me to that Kundalini teacher training. She's like, this has helped me. So I think we receive guidance from others when we're open to it. And then I think partially the path is a path that you go through on your own. Like
for sure.
Hours and hours and hours of being with myself that were incredibly potent. And whether it was, some of it was guidance, vipassana, or sitting on a mountain, or going into silent, like, into vision quest, or whatever that was for, But some of it was also alone in my living room and just being with myself. And obviously at that point I already had some practices that supported me through that. And then I think the other part of it is incredibly important, that we get inside of somehow a structure or a community or a teacher or somebody that can help us, give us certain tools that reconnect us to our body. And I really, really, really love teachers that are like, here is a technology, here is steps, like here.
It's a program.
It's a program. It's not me. And I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna babysit you through this, but I'm gonna give you a certain
so you can do the work
yourself. Because the only person that heals you is you.
100%. But also that victim mode is where you stay in the perfection. You're actually waiting for someone to come and rescue you. You have that feeling like, help me, someone come and find me. You've built this castle for yourself that you hate, and surely someone can see me, but you're waiting for yourself to see you, and nobody is going to come and rescue you but you. That's
it. And a good teacher will make you see that. Good teacher will actually empower you to look at that little victim that you have inside and is like, hey, do you see that? And now which part of you can actually take care of that little part of you?
And also, as we're talking, for anyone listening, it takes time. You want to be, you're like, okay, I'm going to break. This is crap. I'm going to put it all in the bin. But you've got to go through the journey and the process, and it's really long. And it's also really beautiful. There's nothing that I look back on that I wish was any different. I have such reverence for the journey.
It takes so much time. But it will also, once you started that
transition
path,
really fast.
You will also never stop walking that path. It's like, oh, okay. Now, for example, I just went last week to a retreat, and it was really powerful. And I was like, wow, like it was nothing but pleasure and bliss, and just, and I'm like, cool, like right now I'm here,
Yeah.
and I get to celebrate, and right now my practices and my path looks like being in ecstasy and being like that. And I know that maybe in a year or two I'm going to be again in another cycle, because life throws something at me that requires grieving again, or so I think it's just these tools help us to navigate life in a way that we get to accept what is actually here, right?
And
so
become embodied
with it.
And I would love to ask you just to maybe give a little bit of insight into what that embodiment looks like, because again, the perfectionist listening is like, oh yeah, okay, I'll do some meditation, I'll find a teacher, this is all fine, I can do this, but like it's messy, it's raw, and it's wild, and that's what we need more of. All of us are seeking that. We don't know it till we find it though. Okay, that's where it is. So how can you show how it looks?
So we have the cognitive system, right, which is the understanding, which you just mentioned. It's like, okay, I'm going to do this, and whatever, like, and actually this is my trauma and this is my childhood, and right, it's like the tick is first level of understanding, and I'm like, it's awareness, which is great, but it isn't, awareness doesn't heal you, but it's the first step. So we kind of foster awareness, and then how we actually embody it is through breath. Like when you want to get out of the cognitive and more into your limbic and primal system, more into the feeling space of your body, where you actually are able to release and change the codes of your nervous system, you gotta start to deepen your breath. So the breath that I found has worked the best is a connected breath, in and out of the mouth. So when I feel in certain moments that I'm being triggered, or there is an intensity, or I feel like a part of my body is blocked, or like there is there's a story that keeps repeating, and I feel it in my diaphragm, and it's like, I'm gonna create a process for myself that I'm gonna be breathing in and out of the mouth, because the breath in and out of the mouth allows me to expand what is here. And usually when I start to breathe in and out of the mouth, anything that is unfelt, because I'm scared to feel it, because actually, why do I not really feel? Because I'm scared and terrified that I'm not going to be able to survive what I'm actually feeling. So I'm getting out of that survival, and I'm like, okay, I'm safe to feel. With that breath and that knowing I'm safe to feel, usually everything unfelt starts to bubble up. And then rather than just thinking about the pain or the story or the wound or that moment, I'm actually feeling it in my body. Where does it live in my body? And I'm gonna give that sensation voice, whether it's through or like movement, or all right, I can actually start to feel the energy there, and I'm like, oh, and it's not pretty, because I'm actually just expressing the stuck sensation that is there. And when I start to liberate in that way, like after a while, like again, like maybe tears will come, or maybe in that moment, rage, like real deep belly rage starts to surface, or sweat. Sometimes I'm just sweating, you know, like my body has different ways of releasing that tension or releasing that block. And then the other step towards that is, so first is breath, then it's expression and it's sound, and it allowing that energy that was really compacted to have space to move. And with that, loving presence. So anything can only heal if I give it loving attention. I always say, go to the edge and soften there. So you want to go to the edge, and then invite the loving presence in, and is like, okay, like I can hold you there. Come on, I see you. You can do more, right? And in that loving presence, I get to even release a bit more. And sometimes when I'm actually in community, like we were yesterday, it's really nice when you're being held in loving presence by the tribe. That's women we had. Reason for tribe, right? That's why grieving happens in community. You hold loving presence for the person that is going through something, and then even touch, right? Because again, we're relational beings, so we heal relationally. So
if I hold your foot in that moment and you get to breathe more and feel more, you feel my loving presence, and that helps you release that even more, because safety is a massive factor of feeling more and releasing more. And then also and then when we start to release in that way, energy starts to be digested. It's basically an emotional immune system that starts to
just breaking itself down.
eat all the tension. I love, like Layla always calls it. I never heard somebody else say that it's emotional immune system, but I really love the idea of that we don't just have an immune system for viruses. But we have an immune system for emotions. So then the emotional immune system comes on.
Like a masturbator.
Exactly. And it's like, okay, I can eat all of that. Finally, it's moving. Like, ooh, it's food. And then this food becomes life force. And that's what we saw yesterday. It's like, oh, wow, now all that thing is, and actually once I really give it even more breath, and it almost turns into laughter and joy and pleasure and ecstasy. And that's, I mean, Kali herself, right? Like, that's her full, she goes
from like, and then like that. And that's all, I think we get to experience all phases of the goddess in that release. And it's like, oh my God, I'm free. Like, finally, I don't need to hold on to that belief anymore, thought anymore, pain anymore. And then usually I slow down and I'm like, oh, here you are, and I love you, and I see you, and then I come and really return to softness. And it's such a beautiful alchemical process, because we are chemical beings, right?
And I think we have such a lack of awareness for the cellular memory, and also we buried it so deep. This is so deep. So the work we have to do together. And for me, as I said, I told you immediately, I was like, oh my God, that was 200 women doing this process together. And we were in groups of like 4 or 5. And I said to my group, you know, we were communicating what we would like or not like when we were releasing, or if it got too much. And I just said, I just need to let you know it's going to be big. When you said, like, choose something, I was like, it came out. I was like, no, that's too big for here. Let's just keep that one. I was like, no, that's exactly what she said. Don't do. Okay. I'm like, but that's really freaking big. So I just let the group know this is going to be big. And then it came like this battle cry. It was just so big. And I felt like the warrior was offering to the group with the women. I was with and for all of us from my deep ancestral pain. This is lifetimes and generations of wounds that I needed to bring to all of us. Like, that was so humbling for me and so powerful. And I just loved then the held space with the women around me, and then me flowing into their pain with my injury, and us healing together as sisters. We don't do enough. We don't understand how to be the sister, the mother, the lover to each other. And you're then just awed with the beauty of the love, which overpowers everything. And it was incredible. So,
wow. So glad that you went there.
So glad that nothing is too big.
So
the world has told us it's too big, it's too dirty, it's too broken, it's too hard. There's nothing we can't hold and share together to heal.
And how did it feel when you accessed that moment where it was too big? Like, it felt too big in that expression at any moment, or you felt like...
No, because like you say, when you go to the edge, it was like, we're here together. We're all... I'm roaring for humanity. I'm roaring for the wound of every woman that knows my cry. You know, that's where that's where the healing is. That's why we have to come into the tribe.
Totally.
And the word tribe is not a word from a time gone by. I invite all of us to reinvent the word into our today, into the present, and recreate it into our future. We have to relearn the alchemy of the tribe, not see it as an ancient.
Totally. And I love what you're saying then, also to learn the alchemy again, that the feminine heart is at the core of a tribe, right?
Yeah.
Like the feminine temple used to be at the core of the center of a tribe. Like women used to do the prayers for the land, for fertility, for abundance, for, right? Like before they would go into war, women would gather and send their prayers. So it was really honored as that divine force, and it was guarded as that divine force.
And the men guarded.
Yeah.
And we protected with the power that we are able to channel. And we were listened to as the decision informers, because we're guiding from such a deep place that the men were being informed and loved by us.
Exactly, the Oracle of Delphi. Totally.
But empowerment is not about an aggressive, like, oh, let me just be up front and men get behind. It's about this beautiful synergy where we relearn the roles between each other. And you invited the men back in to hold the circle facing out, and then to turn back in to look at the beauty of us, witnessing the beauty of us, rather than this projected, aggressive predator, you know, porn, thick and ill relationships.
It's immediately when you see energy moving, it's like, I want to have something.
I want to own it.
I want to own it.
Yeah.
Totally. This is beautiful.
But it was just like, you know, and that was just such a beautiful moment.
A really healing moment, even for the man, which was very powerful to see them experiencing the magnificence and beauty, but also the intensity of the emotions that were present in the room. And because they came in just right after that release, so it was a lot of like emotions flowing through each woman, and them just feeling what it means to really hold space without moving, and having their arms out and just being like, today I'm not gonna run. And I think when you imprint that, I'm not gonna run, like women were bowling because they're like, this is what it actually feels like to be held by the masculine, which many of us sadly haven't.
We just don't know. Yeah.
And for men, the same. Many men started crying because they're like, wow, like this is what it feels like to be in service to offer my gift of protection, right? And strength and primal power and what, you know, all the beautiful gifts that a man have, and creating a safety net. It's like the structure they were like proud of it, you know? So them feeling that, and I think then through that somatic imprint, rather than talking about it, but by feeling it in these embodied practices, we come back to a better understanding of what it really means to support each other, right? And hold each other's gifts sacred, rather than wanting to become like each other, man and woman like man, and enemies, and trying. And
it's breaking down that competitiveness, and even the poor man has been taught he must alone build. The word build is so sickening. We need for them to feel, to grow, not to build. And really the alchemy that the men can then have together with each other, because it's so isolating what a man must achieve in today's world. And then the women, we don't compete with each other. I want you to have your everything. I want to be you to be your most beautiful, shining, elevating goddess. And all of us want that when we start to work like this for each other.
And this is so beautiful you're mentioning, because it's that sisterhood wound we still repeat, because when we're not connected to our creative force and centered, when we're not connected to our creative force, we automatically repeat, because I'm like, oh my God, she's more powerful than I. She has more than I do. And we're like, because I haven't tasted my own nectar of my own power and divinity, I now am jealous of everybody else's.
Because I don't know how to feed myself.
Exactly. And I'm like, oh, the man, you know, the man are resources, so then she's going to have the man and I don't have, like, right, all that jealousy thinking. So,
and the man is going to come and rescue me, and then I'm going to be this, so then I'll be okay. No.
Exactly. Disconnection from our creative power. And for men, it's the same thing. They're like taught, okay, now I need to go out, I need to produce, I need to build, I need to. And actually, with that, they kind of lose touch with their own hearts, right? With their own tenderness, with actually what nourishes them, and they kind of become machines out there. And it's really sad because, to be quite frankly honest, still, even with my partner, there's moments I'm like, maybe I do want him to produce more or build more, or, you know, like there's these old patriarchal, like, lingering imprints still there of what a man needs to do and be and provide, and like, right, and really dismantling that as a woman
and relearning the art of being there for a king.
How we do exactly, that's an art in itself.
But I think, and that's the thing to take away from this beautiful conversation, is that we need help to relearn, we need help to remember, and we have to do it in the community, because we don't know, we can't know how to honor the goddess. And
if our mothers haven't,
if our mothers haven't, the grandmother haven't, it's not our fault, but no one's going to come and rescue us, and we need to show up together so that we can relearn the wisdom that is there. It is in us. If you don't think you can feel it, it is in there. And you will find it. Time, concentrate, block out the noise of the world that is feeding you sick. And just showing up with honesty and starting with becoming embodied. That's where it begins.
I love that, because the stories that matter are in our bodies. The ones that don't, they're actually already, if they're not in your body anymore, if you don't feel them anymore, yalla. You know, if they still live in your body, like if you still have, then this is the thing you need to work on, right? And that's the beautiful thing, why I think embodiment is such an important addition to any talk therapy that you can do. It ain't gonna be solved through the mind.
I'm just honoring this conversation today. I've loved everything we've spoken about. And Wildists, this is beautiful Miriam at Colibri here at the festival, talking about embodied love, which is her art form. And thank you for tuning in and listening to this beautiful conversation that we've had, Wild Conversations. You can find it on any podcast platform, and we look forward to seeing you for the next. Miriam,
thank you.
Really, thank you. Thank you for joining me on Wild Conversations. If this episode resonated with you, be sure to hit subscribe. That way you won't miss out on more insights, stories, and journeys of transformation. Remember, this isn't just a podcast. It's a philosophy and a movement, a way of life. Together, we are paving the way to reconnect through the wild across all elements of life, from food to flow and community, in order to unlock our true human health and potential. Visit wildingtribe.com to learn more about our science-based programs and plans. Stay curious, stay inspired, and keep pushing forward with intention. Remember to slow down, to feel into your inner wild, and to make space to listen to your authentic self. Until next time, you can always find more on Wilding Tribe.